The republic for which it stands is what we are here to talk about today. A republic, if we can keep it. We gather today under the dome of this temple of democracy to exercise one of the most solemn powers that this body can take, the impeachment of the President of the United States. No member, regardless of party or politics, comes to Congress to impeach a president. But every one of us, as our first act as a member of Congress, stood on this historic House floor before our beautiful American flag and raised our hands in this sacred oath. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So help me God. But, very sadly now, our founders' vision of a republic is under threat from actions from the White House. That is why today, as Speaker of the House, I solemnly and sadly open the debate on the impeachment of the President of the United States. If we do not act now, we would be derelict in our duty. It is tragic that the President's reckless actions make impeachment necessary. He gave us no choice. What we are discussing today is the established fact that the President violated the Constitution. It is a matter of fact that the President is an ongoing threat to our national security and the integrity of our elections, the basis of our democracy. The founders' great fear of a rogue or corrupt president is the very reason why they enshrined impeachment in the Constitution. As one founder, William Davey of North Carolina, warned, unless the Constitution contained an impeachment provision, a president might spare no efforts or means whatever to get himself reelected. Another founder, George Mason, insisted that the president who procured his appointment in the first instance through improper and corrupt acts might repeat his guilt and return to power. We in Congress, Article 1, the legislative branch, must stand up and make clear to the American people and to all people that this body still stands by the principles enshrined in the Constitution and defended by generations of Americans. As our beloved Chairman Elijah Cummings, an Oversight Committee Chair, our North Star, said when announcing his support for this action, quote, "When the history books are written about this tumultuous era, I want them to show that I was among those in the House of Representatives who stood up to lawlessness and tyranny." He also said, almost prophetically, "When we are dancing with the angels, the question will be, what did we do to make sure we kept our democracy intact?" Elijah, as you know, has since passed on. Now he is dancing with the angels. And I know that he and all of us here are very proud of the moral courage of members who want to honor the vision of our founders for a republic, the sacrifice of our men and women in uniform to defend it, and the aspirations of our children to live freely within it. Today, we are here to defend democracy for the people. May God bless America. I yield back the balance of my time.
Then Lydia Speck.
The extent to which the Democratic Party is living up to the gravity of this occasion is only matched by the extent to which the Republican Party is not. Nancy Pelosi took to the House of the floor today to open the final debate on the 2 articles of impeachment against Donald Trump, invoking at numerous points the words of this nation's founders. And it's a testament to what the two parties are actually prioritizing here. While the Democrats are protecting and preserving the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the ideals that this nation represents, or at least what it purports to represent, the Republican Party is protecting Donald Trump. Period. Honestly, the cowardice showed by the Republican Party has been something that most Americans never thought they'd witness. Just to be crystal clear, we have a president who we know withheld congressionally allocated military aid to Ukraine until he was able to exact the promise of an announcement of an investigation into his top political opponent. That was taxpayer funds, your hard-earned money that you went to work for every day, that Trump commandeered to use as a bribe for a political favor. Money that was meant to help Ukraine battle Russian aggression, to battle the same country country that just finished attacking us and interfering in our election. He tried to hide the summary of his call with Ukrainian President Zelensky in a secure server, not because there was sensitive national security information, there wasn't, but because he knew that it was incriminating. He himself referred to his request for dirt on Biden as a favor. He admitted that the purpose of the call was to get a probe into Biden, and yet, according to Gordon Sondland's sworn testimony, he didn't care about the actual investigation, just the announcement of the investigation.
But he had to get those two investigations if that official act was going to take place, correct?
He had to announce the investigations. He didn't actually have to do them, as I understood it.
Because this was never about fact-finding or justice, it was only ever about the soundbite he could use against Biden heading into 2020. He blocked his administration officials from testifying about all of this to Congress in response to legally binding subpoenas. He refused to give a single document to Congress as part of their inquiry, and he refused himself to participate in the process. The egregiousness of Trump's crimes is only outweighed by his efforts to cover them up. And yet still, despite all of that evidence, the GOP has opted to put party over country. No Republicans voted to begin an impeachment inquiry. No Republicans on the Judiciary Committee voted for articles of impeachment. No Republicans on the Rules Committee voted to move forward with impeachment. And no Republicans in the House are expected to vote today to impeach the president. Not because he didn't do anything wrong, he clearly did. The evidence couldn't be more damning if Trump himself took to the podium in the Rose Garden and admitted that he should be impeached. They're doing it because they're afraid. They're afraid of an angry tweet by the president on Twitter, so they're refusing their oath of office. They're afraid of getting primaried by some Trump sycophant and losing their job, so they're refusing their oath of office. They're afraid of receiving the ire of the Republican colleagues in Washington like Justin Amash, who was excommunicated for his crime of defending the Constitution, so they're refusing their oath of office. They're putting themselves and their own selfish interests above our laws, above this country, above the oath of office that they took swearing to defend the Constitution. The GOP's inability to put country over party could not be more apparent or more inexcusable. And look, none of this is to say that Democrats are perfect or infallible, but in this moment, there is clearly only one party interested in upholding the law, while the other has so blatantly contracted every ounce of their power to a wannabe tyrant that all they can do is mount defenses so weak that they can barely stand for 24 hours before they're completely demolished. Speaker Pelosi's adherence to the Constitution in this speech is already impressive unto itself, but when compared against the collective cowardice of her colleagues on the right, her actions are truly living up to the seriousness of the times.